Good morning. Time check, it's exactly 10:04. Let us start our activity with a prayer and followed by the singing of national anthem. Please all stand.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. All-powerful God, we praise and thank you as we gather once again for the Pre-Procurement Conference, Pre-Bid Conference, and opening of bids for civil works. May we ask you for your blessing and guidance that the activities set for this undertaking may be successful. Open our mind for us to think wisely, put us with understanding, cooperation, and peace in fulfilling our responsibilities for the success of the Pre-Procurement Conference, Pre-Bid Conference, and opening of bids for civil works. We ask this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Bayang magiliw, bebas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyat ka ng magiliw, sa manlulupi, kita masisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mo baha, ay ilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang tinamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y nagumpay na nag-iitim, ang bituin ng araw niya kailan ang pwede magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng maraming pagsita, buhay langit sa likod. Aming ligaya dapat may mamagin, at namatay ng tayo sa'yo.
You may now take your seats. Good morning once again. In behalf of our back chairman, Engineer Victor Ong, who is on seminar right now, so I will be presiding our three activities for today. Mr. Back Secretariat, please ascertain if we have the quorum.
Yes, Mr. Vice Chairman, we have a quorum.
Do we have electronic submission of bids?
Oh, electronic bid submitted, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Okay, with that, I now call this meeting to order. DWG, you may now open the bid box and retrieve all those bid tenders. And while we are waiting for the result of the electronic eligibility coming from CWA, you may now open the technical envelopes and start sorting out these documents. Now let me acknowledge the presence of everyone. For the contractor's representative, Flordes Construction, Johnny Tinapoy, GJE Builders, Arian Jane Alotinto, AC Sullivan, Jenny Domingo, T2B3, Maricris Tanggalang, DMGR Eunice Inalves, Big Berta Construction, RD Tambile, BG Hiron, Pilar Obernario, Saint Benezet Construction, Maria Vida Quirino, BKC2, Jacqueline Jeronimo, Amitis Horizon Builders, Marie Cris de la Cruz, Riches Construction, Edna Tonji, ELJ Construction Services, Jessica May Pablo. Also, let me acknowledge the presence of everyone here inside. On my left, Mr. Back Secretary Engineer Mike Malvar, and his beside him is Engineer Christian. Good morning. Ma'am Jacqueline Di Marucot, DWG members, Engineer Marvinson Gingab, Engineer Attorney Cristina Magcalas, and Engineer Felito Miliado, Engineer Maricel Tangonan, Engineer Edwin Baluyot. On my right, our IT expert, Giancarlo De Marucot, and his alternate, Mr. Frank. We also have here our guest speaker for our private conference, Engineer Alicia Vicente. Morning. Engineer Lorraine Granil, Engineer Charles Anthony Serrano, Engineer Saldi Olivares. So our first activity is the pre-procurement conference. Prior to the advertisement or the issuance of the invitation to bid, request for expression of interest for each procurement undertaken through a competitive bidding. The BAC, through its secretariat, shall call for a pre-procurement conference. The pre-procurement conference shall be attended by the BAC, the secretariat, the unit or officials, including consultants hired by the procuring entity, who prepared the bidding documents and the draft invitation to bid requests for expression of interest for each procurement during this conference. The participants led by the BAC shall confirm the description and scope of contract, the ABC, and contract duration. Ensure that the procurement is in accordance with the PPMP and APP. Determine the readiness of procurement at hand, including, among other aspects, the following: availability of appropriation and program budget for contract for the purpose of pre-procurement conference pending the approval or enactment of the GAA, corporate budget or appropriation ordinances, as the case may be. The certification of availability of funds refers to the amount in the indicative APP consistent with the NAP or MYOA or its equivalent document, the proposed corporate budget or executive budget in accordance with Section 7.6 of this IRR on procurement activities short of award. Completeness of the bidding documents and their adherence to relevant general procurement guidelines. completion of the detailed engineering according to the prescribed standards in the case of infrastructure project, review, modify, and agree on the criteria for eligibility screening, evaluation, and post-qualification, review and adopt the procurement schedule including deadlines and timeframes for the different activities. The bidding documents shall be prepared by the procuring entity following the standard forms and manuals prescribed by the GPPB. The bidding documents shall include the following: ABC, invitation to bid, request for expressions of interest, eligibility requirements, instruction to bidders including scope of bid, documents comprising the bid, criteria for eligibility, bid evaluation methodology, criteria in accordance with the Act, and post-qualification, as well as the date, time, and place of the private conference, submission of bids, and opening of bids. Scope of work where applicable, plans, drawings, and technical specs, form about amount and validity period of bid security, form amount and validity of performance security and warranty, and form of contract, and general and special conditions of contract. The specification and other terms in the bidding documents shall reflect the necessary specification required to meet the needs of the procuring entity in clear and ambiguous terms. To provide prospective bidders sample time to examine the bidding documents and to prepare their respective bids, the concerned box shall make the bidding documents available from the time the invitation to bid request or expression of interest is first advertised, posted until the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. For project number 125 CJ 0113, construction of multipurpose building, covered court, Barangay Sinilian First, Camiling, Tarlac. Its ABC is 6,930,000. 25 CJ 0114, construction of flood control structure along Camiling River, Mayantoc section, segment 2, Mayantoc, Tarlac. Its ABC is 96,500,000. For project number 3, 25 CJ 0115, construction of multipurpose building, San Juan Elementary School, Barangay San Juan, Moncada, Tarlac. Its ABC is 14,850,000. 25 CJ 0116, construction of flood control structure along Camiling River, Mayantoc section, segment 3, Mayantoc, Tarlac. Its ABC is 96,500,000. 25 CJ 0117, construction of multipurpose building, daycare, Barangay Bacolong, Victoria, Tarlac. Its ABC is 4,950,000. 25 CJ 0118, construction of flood control structure along Masalasa Creek, segment 19, Tarlac City. Its ABC is 96,500,000. 25 CJ 0119, construction, completion of multipurpose building, Barangay Hall, Barangay Poblacion 3, 3rd, Herona, Tarlac. Its ABC is 1,980,000. So, Engineer Christian, are all the documents, programs, and plans are ready for these said projects?
Yes, sir. Naka-ready na po. For final checking po lahat yan, sir.
Okay, kailan ang ITB?
Bukas po, sir.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Christian. So that ends our pre-procurement conference. We go now to pre-bid conference for project number 1. 25 CJ 0080. Engineer Ignacia Vicente, please come and join us here and give us some details for the project.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Engineer Ignacia Vicente from Planning and Design Section. I'm going to present to flood control project for the contract ID 25CJ0080, titled Construction of Flood Control Structure along Susubaen Creek, Segment 25, Ramos, Tarlac. This project has a net length of 398 linear meters with a total project duration of 244 calendar days and approved budget for the contract amounting to 96,500,000. The scope of works of this flood control project are as follows: surface courses with 0.25 meter thick of Portland cement concrete pavement having a width of 6.1 meter, earthwork with aggregate sub-base course having a thickness of 200 millimeters, and a bank and slope protection works. The length of steel sheet pile to be used is 9 meters. The location of the said project is located within the vicinity of Paniqui, Ramos, Tarlac, as shown in the presentation. For the contract ID 25CJ0083, construction of flood control structure along Camiling River, Mayantoc section, segment 1, Mayantoc, Tarlac. This project has a total length of 251 linear meters and a total project duration of 244 calendar days and approved budget for the contract amounting to 96,500,000. The scope of works are as follows: surface courses with 0.23 meter and 0.25 meter thick of Portland cement concrete pavement having a width of 3.0 meter and 6.1 meter respectively. Selenious structure with single arm 10 meter pole solar LED roadway lighting with 3.0 meter mass arm length. Earthwork with 0.2 meter thick of aggregate sub-base course, and lastly back and slope protection work with steel sheet pile having a length of 12 meters. The location of the said project is located within the vicinity of Barangay Kubkob, Mayantoc, Tarlac, as shown in the presentation.
Okay, any questions? Okay, thank you, Engineer Ignacia Vicente. So before we continue, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our end users and regular members. On my left, the Chief of Construction, Engineer Joey Zamora. Good morning. And also for construction section, Engineer Rene Rosete. Good morning. On my right, our Vice President for Samakana, Mr. Eric Lungka. For maintenance section, Engineer Alfredo Sibilla. And the Chief of Maintenance section, Engineer Renato Martinez. Good morning, and yours truly, Engineer Marvin Jimenez. So we continue for the next project, 25CJ0081. Let me call on Engineer Lorraine Granil. Please join us here and give us some details.
Good morning, everyone. I am Engineer Lorraine Granil, and I'm here to present two projects. First, contract ID number 25CJ0081, contract name, construction of multipurpose building covered court, Barangay Calipayan, Moncada, Tarlac. The scope of works, complete construction of a covered court with a dimension of 31 meters by 17 meters, has no stage and wings, and has sidings front and back. It has demolition of existing structures 8.5 by 8 meters and 6.2 by 6.2 meters.
Any questions? Okay, please proceed.
Contract ID number 25CJ0086. Contract name, construction of multipurpose building daycare, Barangay Kabuluan, Victoria, Tarlac. Scope of works, complete construction of two-story daycare center with a dimension of 13.4 by 6 meters and demolition of existing bleachers and relocation of water hand pump and elevation of 0.4 meters.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Engineer Lorraine. We proceed to the next project. 25 CJ0082. Let me call on Engineer Charles Anthony Serrano. Please join us here and give us some details.
Yes. Good morning. I'm Engineer Charles Anthony Serrano. I'll be presenting two projects. For 25 CJ0082, construction, completion of multipurpose building, covered court, Barangay Pao, San Jose, Tarlac. The scope of works for the completion of covered courts are construction of stage with roof deck, elevated steel bleacher on one side with sidings, with an embankment of 0.6 meter and the demolition of fence.
Any questions? Okay, proceed.
Yung pong stage po. Proceed na. For project with contract ID 25CJ0084, construction, completion of multipurpose building, covered court, Barangay Poblacion 2, Herona, Tarlac. The scope of works includes completion of covered court, construction of elevated steel bleachers in both sides with sidings.
Any questions? Okay, so thank you, Engineer Charles Anthony Serrano. For the next project with ID number 25 CJ0085, let me call on Engineer Saldi. Please come and join us here and give some details of the project.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Zaldi Olivares from Planning and Design Section, and I'm going to introduce Contract ID 25CJ0085, construction of flood control structure along Tarlac River, O'Donnell River Control, Balantic, Armenia Section, Segment 26, Tarlac City, Tarlac. It has a target length of 231 linear meters with a total project duration of 244 calendar days. The ABC is 96,500,000. The scope of works includes earthwork with crush aggregate base course, surface courses with 0.15 and 0.3 meter thick of Portland cement concrete pavement with a width of 3.53 and 6.7 meters respectively. Drainage structures with structured wall pipe high density polyethylene pipe 1000 mm in diameter. Miscellaneous structures with 305 mm width of metal guardrail including post single W beam metal, double arm 12 meter solar LED roadway lighting with 300 watts and paper blocks. And lastly, protective works and accessories. The length of steel sheet pile to be used is 12 meters.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Engineer Saldi. So that ends our pre-bid conference. Our resource speakers have discussed the scope of work and project description of each project. If in case there will be an amendment, notice of resumption for the scheduled procurement activities, a supplemental bulletin will be posted. So we go now to our third activity for today. These projects were advertised and posted on DPWH website, PhilJeps, and posted on the bulletin board of DPWH Tarlac First DEO. This proceeding is guided by the rules and procedures of RA 9184, otherwise known as the Government Procurement Reform Act, and other relevant issuances of GPPB and the DPWH. Thus, the bidding will be conducted through open competitive bidding in opening of the technical and financial envelopes, non-discretionary pass-fail criterion as specified in the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184 shall be strictly followed. Further, notwithstanding the result of the electronic eligibility, a prospective bidder or bidders may be rated non-complying due to the absence of required documents. During the preliminary evaluation of bids, based on the checklist provided for both technical and financial requirement, now, since evaluation of bidders' eligibility requirement is processed electronically through Civil Works application, for bidders who will be found ineligible in the e-process, the BAC will check and manually evaluate their eligibility documents and may consider them eligible if the required or updated documents were included in their technical component. The BAC will then request to the procurement to service the updating of bidders' documents in the Civil Works Registry and reprocess the eligibility check in the CWA. Let it be noted, and BAC Secretariat put it on the record, that in case of discrepancies between the findings of the BAC and the result on the e-process, the latter shall prevail. At this point, let me now go to the reading of the projects. For project number 1, 25 CJ 0028, construction of bank slow protection structure along Chico River, segment 4, Victoria, Tarlac. Its ABC is 49 million. The required bid security in the form of surety bond is 2,450,000. Bank guarantee is 980,000. Next. (25 CJ 0029), construction of multipurpose building, 2-story 4 classroom building, Josephine M. Cojuangco Technical Vocational National High School, Barangay Poblacion, Norte, Mayantoc, Tarlac. Its ABC 16,830,000. The required bid security in the form of surety bond is 841,500,000. 500, sorry. Bank guarantee is 336,600. Next. (25 CJ 0030), construction of multipurpose building, covered court, Barangay Calipayan, Santa Ignacia, Tarlac. Its ABC 6,930,000. The required bid security in the form of surety bond is 346,500. Bank guarantee is 138,600. Next. 25 CJ 0031, construction of flood control structures along Susubaen Creek, segment 41, Ramos, Tarlac. Its ABC is 49 million. Required bid security in the form of surety bond, 2,450,000. Bank guarantee is 980,000. Next. 25 CJ 0032, construction of multipurpose building, covered court, Barangay San Francisco West, Anao, Tarlac. Its ABC 6,930,000. Required bid security in the form of surety bond, 346,500. Bank guarantee is 138,600. Lagay mo na muna dito. Next, 25 CJ 0033, construction of flood control structure along Chico River, segment 21, Victoria, Tarlac. Its ABC is 96,500,000. Required bid security in the form of surety bond, is 4,825,000. Bank guarantee is 1,930,000. Next. 25 CJ 0034. Rehabilitation, reconstruction, upgrading of damaged paved roads Tarlac City to San Jose via Tibag Burgos Road. K0138 plus 517 to K0139 plus 000. Its ABC is 8,393,700. Required bid security in the form of surety bond 419,685. Bank guarantee 167,874. 25 CJ 0035. Rehabilitation, reconstruction, upgrading of damaged paved roads Manila North Road K0126 plus 460 to K0127 plus 337. Its ABC is 46,398,100. Required bid security in the form of surety bond 2,319,905. Bank guarantee is 927,962. We have the result of the electronic eligibility for these projects. All bidders were found eligible. We will waive the reading of the required bid security inasmuch as all the bidders have submitted bid securing declaration as their form of bid security, and these are accepted. Okay, let's continue. We go now to the technical component. Presence and absence of the required documents. The two bidders were found for project number 1, 25 CJ 0028. Presence and absence of the required documents. The two bidders were found complying. You may now open their financial envelope. For project number 2, 25 CJ 0029. Presence and absence of the required documents. The two bidders were found complying. You may now open their financial envelope. For project number 3, 25 CJ 0030. Presence and absence of the required documents. The two bidders were found complying. You may now also open their financial envelope. Project number 4, presence and absence of the required documents. The two bidders were found complying. You may now open their financial envelope. For project number 5, presence and absence of the required documents. The two bidders were found complying. You may now open their financial envelope. Project number 6, presence and absence of the required documents. The three bidders were found complying. You may now also open their financial envelope. Project number 7, presence and absence of the required documents. The two bidders were found complying. You may now open their financial envelope. For project number 8, presence and absence of the required documents. The two bidders were found complying. You may now open their financial envelope.
DPWH, 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 DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan, tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Sa public works and highways, matibay ang samahan, budhi ang sandigan, laging maninindigan. matibay ang samahan. Puti ang sandigan, laging maninindigan. Daan sa kaunlaran, tulay sa kinabukasan. Serbisyo ang tungkulin ko, trabaho ko, dangal ko. DPWH, Pilipino at marangal, tapat at marunong pinagkakapuri ko. DPWH, Pilipino at marangal, taas noon nagdiring ko. DPWH, buong pusong nagdiring ko. DPWH, ipinagmamalaki kong paglingkuran ang Pilipino. DPWH, 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 DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan. Tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Sa public works and highways, matibay ang samahan. Puti ang sandigan, laging maninindigan. Daan sa kaunlaran, tulay sa kinabukasan. Serbisyo ang tungkulin ko, trabaho ko, dangal ko. DPWH, Pilipino at marangal, tapat at marunong pinagkakapuri ko. DPWH, Pilipino at marangal, taas noon nagdiring ko. DPWH, buong pusong nagdiring ko. DPWH, ipinagmamalaki kong paglingkuran ang Pilipino. DPWH, 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 DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan. Tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Sa public works and highways, matibay ang samahan. Puti ang sandigan, laging maninindigan. Daan sa kaunlaran, tulay sa kinabukasan. Serbisyo ang tungkulin ko, trabaho ko, dangal ko. DPWH, 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 DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan, tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Sa public works and highways, matibay ang samahan, budhi ang sandigan, laging maninindigan. DPWH, 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 DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan, tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Sa public works and highways, matibay ang samahan, puti ang sandigan, laging maninindigan. Daan sa kaunlaran, tulay sa kinabukasan, serbisyo ang tungkulin ko, trabaho ko, dangal ko. DPWH, Pilipino at Maraman, tapat at marunong pinagkakapuri ko. DPWH, Pilipino at Maraman, taas noon nagdiring ko. DPWH, buong pusong nagdiring ko. DPWH, ipinagmamalaki kong paglingkuran ang Pilipino. DPWH, 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 DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan, tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Sa public works and highways, matibay ang samahan, puti ang sandigan, laging maninindigan. Daan sa kaunlaran, tulay sa kinabukasan, serbisyo ang tungkulin ko, trabaho ko, dangal ko. DPWH, Pilipino at Maraman, tapat at marunong pinagkakapuri ko. DPWH, Pilipino at Maraman, taas noon nagdiring ko. DPWH, buong pusong nagdiring ko. DPWH, ipinagmamalaki kong paglingkuran ang Pilipino. DPWH, DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan, tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Sa public works and highways, matibay ang samahan, puti ang sandigan, laging maninindigan. Daan sa kaunlaran, tulay sa kinabukasan, serbisyo ang tungkulin ko, trabaho ko, dangal ko. DPWH, Pilipino at Maraman, tapat at marunong pinagkakapuri ko. DPWH, Pilipino at Maraman, taas noon nagdiring ko. DPWH, buong pusong nagdiring ko. DPWH, ipinagmamalaki kong paglingkuran ang Pilipino. DPWH, 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 DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan, tunay Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan, tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Sa public works and highways, matibay ang samahan, budhi ang sandigan, laging maninindigan. Daan sa kaunlaran, tulay sa kinabukasan, serbisyo ang tungkulin ko, trabaho ko, dangal ko. DPWH, Pilipino at marangal, tapat at marunong pinagkakapuri ko. DPWH, Pilipino at marangal, taas noon naglilingkod. DPWH, buong pusong naglilingkod. DPWH, ipinagmamalaki kong paglingkuran ang Pilipino. DPWH, 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 DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan, tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Sa public works and highways, matibay ang samahan, budhi ang sandigan, laging maninindigan.
Okay, let's continue. For project number 2, we now go to the financial component. Presence and absence of the required documents. The two bidders were found complying with their bids. BG Heron Construction, its bid is 16,644,878.47. Saint Benezet Construction, its bid is 16,651,505.26. All bids are below ABC. 1. For project number 1. Presence and absence of the required documents, the two bidders were found complying with their bids. D2, B3, its bid is 47,530,426.86. BKC2 Construction, its bid is 48,133,852.50. All bids are below ABC. For project number 3, presence and absence of the required documents, the two bidders were found complying with their bids. AC Sullivan, its bid is 6,873,872.46. DMGR Builders, its bid is 6,854,377.78. All bids are below ABC. Project number 4. presence and absence of the required documents, the two bidders were found complying with their bids. GJE Builders, its bid is 47,496,290.56. BKC2 Construction, its bid is 48,211,463.96. All bids are below ABC. For project number 5, presence and absence of the required documents, the two bidders were found complying with their bids. Saint Benezet Construction, its bid is 6,860,107.02. ELJ Construction Services, its bid is 6,854,478.97. All bids are below ABC. Project number 6, presence and absence of the required documents, the two bidders were found complying with their bids. Riches Construction, its bid is 93,518,510.83. Ano ba to? Amethyst Horizon Builders, its bid is 95,534,034. 937.38. Big Berta, its bid is 94,186,229.73. All bids are below ABC. For project number 7, presence and absence of the required documents, the two bidders were found complying with their bids. Lourdes Construction and Trading, its bid is 8,184,568.90. Saint Benezet Construction, its bid is 8,200,832.31. All bids are below ABC. For project number 8, presence and absence of the required documents, the two bidders were found complying with their bids. Big Berta Construction, its bid is 45,340,936.74. AC Sullivan Construction, its bid is 45,240,379.70. All bids are below ABC. That ends our opening of bids. Each project starting from the lowest calculated bid shall undergo post-qualification to determine its responsiveness to all the requirements and conditions as specified in the bidding documents. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Stay safe, everyone.